This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It's sponsored by Independent Bank. This is week in and week out. It's a conversation with people making a difference in the community and folks who have unique contributions to the community. And I can't think of anyone more unique than Rob Grimes.
Yeah, that's a great word. Yay.
Actually, I see a number of close friends have much stronger words, but that's cool.
Rob, we know you in Cadillac from the comic book ER.
Yes, I am the comic book guy.
Yes.
And actually, my wife had much disdain for that because she then became known as the comic book guy's wife. and which is really awful because, again, she owns her own business. She is a powerhouse in her own right. And now that we're moving into, now I will no longer be known as the comic book guy. I'm now the record store guy. People are already walking up to her asking her to appraise records. And she's like going,
not my job.
This ain't my gig, man. Go talk to that long-haired weirdo over there, you know? So
she's in the produce aisle and she's trying to find a good watermelon,
exactly.
And people are asking her about the record
Tell
store.
me about this record. I'm like, so yeah, but my wife's been cursed with that, unfortunately, because I do tend to I would have to say I nibble in the niche.
Oh,
ooh,
well, that is really
God,
good.
That's a T-shirt and a bumper sticker.
It is
done.
I
nibble in the niche.
Can you tell us about your store? I'm so
well,
excited.
it's going to be an interesting. I want to say interesting experiment because I ran the comic book ER here in Cadillac for 7 years. COVID basically had its final, and I put my hands up and said, "Time to take a break," and I went away from the world for about 3 years. But even then, as I explained to Rich earlier today, you know, in the end, the comic book ER had 1,000 square feet already dedicated to vinyl. We were already carrying used vinyl because I have two passions in my life. Well, you got to say three. Wife's in there, but
Smart.
you know exactly. You know, I'm not going to say what order, but you know,
come on,
I'm not. But but comic books have always been a passion, and people know that because I'm just a crazed weirdo that runs all over town screaming about comic books. But but guess what? Now I get to do it with records because that's my other passion.
Okay.
And so my plan was to expand into vinyl anyways, but then COVID had a different plan and it's a little bigger than me. So I went, okay, I'll go hide for a while. But the thing about it is that I already had a battle plan to create a vinyl store. And a lot of people are going, oh, records, man, those don't sell. And I'm like, well, you really need to check the news lately because that's actually not what's happening. So what was cool about it is that things fell into place. But Cadillac is a unique place to do business. Mm-hmm. It's a very unique place. Mm-hmm. There's some pluses, there's some minuses. You know? Right. And so you have to be very creative to want to do business in Cadillac.
Mm-hmm. Can you expound on that? That's
well
said.
It's a small town.
Yep.
That is a small town. That is a small town with a couple people who want to think it's a big town. So
that's really funny.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so and unfortunately, there's a couple of people tend to be listened to occasionally, so that causes some ruffles. So I already started I started this research right at the beginning of the year. Okay. I basically told my wife, I said, "That's it. I'm done. I did it. I worked some, jobs on the side. I did my gig. I got to go back to what I'm good at, which is basically talking about stuff that I care about and love, and occasionally selling it and maybe paying a bill or two. And that's how I live my life, because I care more about that than I do money, wealth, riches. And fortunately, I'm in Cadillac.
You have to enjoy what you do.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, and that's what I have to do. So I started researching locations. I started looking for certain, real estate values. I started looking for certain locations that I thought would work. That would fit the mold. Because a record store is not just a store. It's not. A record store is a feeling. Mm-hmm. It's an experience. It's a culture.
It's a social gathering for people.
It can be.
A vibe.
It is. And there is a certain vibe to it. I mean, yes, you've got certain stores that will stay unnamed that belong to large national chains. I hope I didn't screw up any commercials for you there. But, that
it's radio. We did not see the air quotes.
Oh, exactly. I know. I love that. So, that just put vinyl in a bin and go, there it is. There's vinyl. That's not selling a record. That's not a record store. I have tons of fond memories, in my late teens where the record store was a major part of my generation's life.
Totally.
A visit to the record store every weekend or every weeknight, or even sometimes we'd sneak down to Crazy Larry's, which was with a big fancy, well, I wouldn't call it big fancy, but in Grand Rapids, it was a large warehouse record store. And sometimes they'd get the import records in before they hit the floor. So a lot of times a high school buddy and I'd run down there, couldn't wait to get the 12-inch singles that were coming out of Britain that nobody could pronounce. So that was cool. So it was a feeling, it was a part of our identity. And then getting that piece of material in our hand, you opened the cover, you got to read liner notes, you got to read all these cool things about the artist, where they were produced, what producer. I mean, there was, in the gang I hung out with in Grand Rapids, we didn't care about sports heroes. We cared about who produced that record. Trevor Horn, which Google it.
Yeah.
He was like a god to us. Who was going to produce the latest Cars album, or who actually one year the producer who produced the Cars album also produced the AC/DC album. And part of Def Leppard, word with Def Leppard too. And we're like, our minds were blown, exactly. So if there were trading cards for record producers back then, probably would have done okay, for us anyways. But so the record store experience is an experience. So it did take me a number of months to keep looking for locations. Did I talk to a few nice people in town who had locations and went, you know what, thanks for considering it, but it's not going to flow.
So where are you going?
It's going to be really cool because the place already has the vibe. They just need the records.
Okay.
I actually have now partnered with GTV, Grand Traverse Vapor.
Okay.
They've been in Cadillac now for 10 years.
Okay.
So they're established in Cadillac. And they've got a customer base, and actually a lot of the customers now, we've already started putting up test product. We've already been talking to customers. We've already been playing music in the store. People are going, "Oh, this is cool," and they've already started buying a few pieces.
You're going to be one door down from where the comic
book
book ER used to be.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yes. And there's irony there, and there's a lot of chatter on the Facebook about that. And I went, yeah, Destiny, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rob, I have a question for both Rob and Rich.
Yes.
What was the first album you bought with your own money?
Okay. Now, let's be fair.
Okay.
Because when I lived in the 20th century, yes, it was a different century, we could buy cassettes. We could buy 8-tracks. We could buy 45s.
Okay.
We could buy albums. So, yeah, are you talking about an album, or are you talking about those other different formats? Because
I
that can change.
Wait to come to your store.
Yeah, because that can
You're
change
blowing
the
my
whole.
mind.
Because there's a big difference between my first 8-track that I bought.
Yeah. No, album.
So my first album, full album on vinyl, would have been Kiss Destroyer.
Okay, Rich.
I'm going to give you two answers. First 45, first album.
Okay.
First album, I don't even remember the title of the album, but it was a Stevie Wonder album with the song Master Blaster on it.
Okay.
You remember that?
I remember the release, yes.
First 45 was Another One Bites the Dust from Queen.
Oh, love that song.
My first 45 was The Police.
Oh, another winner.
Yeah, The Police. Yeah, that was my first 45 because they were really hot back then. This is when I was like just a freshman in high school.
They're still hot.
Yeah,
Rob,
yeah.
you were telling me the year you graduated high school. I don't know if you want to reveal that.
85.
1985.
Okay.
1985.
Well, wait a minute. I need to give mine. Billy Joel, Glass Houses.
Billy Joel. Yeah.
Glass
Actually,
Houses.
I had that one on 8-track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so 85, 88.
So 85
Yep.
is when you graduated. That is right around the time that CDs started supplanting vinyl in terms of sales.
Yes, and occasionally in the record store I would hiss.
So
Yes.
we're going back
Mm-hmm.
like 38 years
Yes.
Whoa.
to the time when vinyl started losing out to other physical formats.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like to
Okay.
use the L word.
Uh,
It just went into a dimension where it was safe and happy for a while, so it could come back.
So and that's my next question.
Yeah.
Did you see this revitalization of vinyl coming?
Well, I want to say a firmly yes because that makes me sound very astute and like I know what I'm doing.
Profit.
But but realistically, for me, it never went away. I told you, I never got rid of my turntables.
Uh-huh.
I never got rid of my vinyl. I mean, occasionally I'd move pieces off my, collection to pay rent. Roommate didn't pay rent that. Oh, crap! I got to get rid of some of my British imports. But I mean, it's like, but it never went away for me. So that was cool. And honestly, if you talk to a lot of people in my age bracket, they're the same way. So we were all closet violent, vinyl fans. We were occasionally violent, but not really towards people, just more like CDs. You know what I mean? And then we found out you could use them for mobiles, and they reflect the sunlight. And they went, "Oh, that's what they're for." So that was cool. Yeah. And
What do your friends in Grand Rapids say about you launching a record store in Cadillac?
well, they said it's about damn time.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Now Lizzo says that, so I can say that. Right?
Yeah. Yes, you're fine.
Okay, cool. About damn time. So that's where we're at. Yeah.
We just can't say what it's bad something o'clock. We can't say that.
Got
Okay.
it.
So, how many records do you personally own?
Well, that's a weird question.
Okay.
Okay.
How so?
Okay. Well, because if you count all the weird backstock that I've collected over the years,
That counts.
okay, that could range anywhere from 1,000 or more.
Seriously?
Right. Yeah. 1,000 or more. And I know I have certain collectors, friends of mine, they have 5,000 or more, pieces.
How do you keep inventory? How do you know what you've got?
If you love it, you know it.
Really?
Yeah. But then also there's weirdos that actually create inventory lists. No, I say weirdo with love, but
Would you be one of those?
no,
Okay.
no, I actually like the fact that I don't know what I have because
Okay.
sometimes I'll go down in the basement and go, hey, this is cool. Or like, oh, shoot. My wife was singing Rod Stewart. Do you think I'm sexy?
Oh.
And I said, wait a minute. I went down in the
You think
basement.
I'm-
Here, I got this on vinyl. So I love doing that crap.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
So at night, do you listen to records? Like,
I listen to vinyl all the time. I listen to music constantly.
okay.
If I didn't, I don't know if I could handle all the noise already in my head.
I mean, you have 1,000 records. So
Yeah,
my goodness.
but it ranges too. I mean, some of them are old British imports. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I was a huge Frankie Goes to Hollywood nut in the '80s. Duran. But then it also goes to. I mean, you'll find a lot of classical. I have a lot of classical music. I love classical music. I love jazz.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Thelonious Monk nut.
Really?
Yeah, I listen to almost everything in the universe. There's a couple genres out there. I'm gonna let them remain nameless that I don't listen to, because it's just everybody's got their thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like I said, people look at me and go, "Why do you like jazz?" I'm like, "Why don't you like jazz?" You know what I mean? But I've noticed there's a certain type of people who like jazz, and there's certain people who can't stand jazz. My wife goes like, "Why do you listen to that stuff?" And I'm like, but my wife also loves tons of different kinds of music. But I love jazz because jazz to me is like a textured, filled, audio in your ear brain scrub. It literally, you can listen to a piece of jazz music and it is nothing but the artist creating a soulful message with just instrumental tones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just fascinating to me, the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Question for you, Robin.
Yeah.
You're a veteran of radio.
Yes.
Do you believe in this day and age that the 16 and 17-year-olds of this generation are not exposed to a wide variety of musical genres and formats as you were or as I was in the 80s?
Quite the opposite, actually.
Really? Okay.
Okay, good.
It's a weird way to look at it.
Okay.
Now, you're right. In the 80s, we were exposed to tons of music. And yes, I still remember the night MTV came on the air.
Video killed the radio
Yeah,
star.
exactly. The Buggles, man. I was on the
Video
floor.
killed the
I was on the
radio
floor
star.
kneeling at the TV. My mother went,
It was
Yeah.
a sign.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, blessed be, and it was amazing. It was a culture, and we were barraged with music, much more than generations before us. which I think reflects a lot in the culture of Gen X. I just wish sometimes people would notice we're in the room. We're really cool and we know a lot of stuff.
Word.
Exactly.
But there are so many places, different places, new places to
Yeah.
go now to discover new music. When you and I were back in the day, it
Right.
was radio. That's where we discovered
radio was
music.
a major part of it, but MTV was a major part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to listen to the, working for the weekend Loverboy at least 1,000 times over the weekend. Now, here's the concept. I love Canadians, but God, do I hate Loverboy. And part of it was MTV's fault because don't tell me the rotation on MTV and or radio, because I worked in radio, that we didn't play the same bloody song. Yeah, once an hour every hour. Okay, so I want to give props to this new generation. I want to give props to Gen Z, and I also want to give props to Gen Alpha because I think their name is so cool. They're like an action team force or something. Something's going to happen. Yeah, exactly. Something's going to happen here. I can't wait for the series. But anyways, they have been exposed to every genre.
Okay.
I mean, I'm walking into 12-year-olds who walk up to me and they're telling me about ZZ Top. And I'm like, what? How do you know about ZZ Top? You know what I mean? Or I've got, my youngest listens to jazz. Yes. And they take time to actually understand the difference between, Wes Montgomery and Thelonious Monk. You know what I mean? So honestly, what I love about today's generation, they've been exposed to so much music now. They're not hung up on genres. We were genre, we were fanatics. And because I remember, I used to be able to hang out with metalheads for a while, but then the metalheads didn't want me to hang out anymore because I listened to new wave music. And it was a major part of our identity back then. I don't think the kids are hung up on those barriers anymore. I've got kids that listen to country, but then the next minute they're listening to, Swedish death metal, which I'm like, cool. You know what I mean? I like that. And I think that also has a lot to do with the resurgence, because I think kids are looking back now and seeing that a lot of those nostalgic things are unique, are different, and they want to identify with those, but they're willing to jump away from this whole getting stuck in genres. I mean, I'm still guilty of it now. I'm 56, and I'm still going, I don't like Loverboy. I'm like, well, that's kind of rude, isn't it, Rob? No, it's fine.
Rob, true story.
Yeah.
I worked for a rock station, XL93 in Grand Forks, North Dakota in the 90s. True story. The rival rock station managers got into a fight, the likes of what the police were called, because it was who's the best rock station, because that's all we listened to was rock. We didn't
and
listen
that's
to
what I'm
rock.
saying is that a lot of us were pigeonholed.
Yes.
And didn't listen, and we didn't want to break out of it because it was a part of our identity. Now, I'm not saying that the kids today don't have ways of creating identity. They have every social media platform known to man to create those identities. We didn't have those things. So a lot of times the music we listened to identified and defined who we were.
Absolutely.
So
I remember being horrified as a jock. I was a night DJ and thinking, the man that I look up to, my station manager, the guy that hired me in, literally got into a fist fight in a public arena with the other station manager because the rivalry, because that's all there was.
Right.
And
it was
we had no
the
diversity.
big fight between Motley Crue and Poison?
Well, like that.
I mean, let's face it, Bret Michaels was way hotter.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I still wear the bandana.
So,
Absolutely.
but the thing about it is this kind of banter that we're talking about, the kids love it.
Oh, okay.
They love hearing the war stories.
And we're like dinosaurs.
Yeah,
aren't we?
they love hearing the war stories.
Well, it's interesting, Rob, because 40 years ago when you and I were teenagers in the 80s,
Yes.
40 years previous
I still can dance just as good.
was Big Band era.
Yes, the swing.
40 years ago now is the beginning of MTV.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of, not to make us sound old, but my gosh, and it's interesting because we were, my radio family and I were having dinner at a local restaurant, and our waitress was about 20. And we asked her, what kind of music do you listen to? And she said, I'm into classic rock. All the music that came out before she was born
is classic.
Is
I know Depeche Mode now is classic rock.
Yes.
And I went, wait, whoa. I listened to Depeche Mode because it made me cool and different, and I got to make fun of old people. but now it's classic rock. So,
So Rob, a question. I mean, to his point, was it better?
Oh, wow.
Was the music better?
Okay, I'm gonna say
you've rendered Rob speechless almost here.
First of all, I don't want to isolate a bunch of customers. Like, we're not getting indoor. He's like, I don't want to do that. Let's not do that. But no. And then we've got to digress to something I want to talk about. Okay. Boy, I've just been saying it all. But anyways, here we go.
We got 10 minutes left.
We got 10 minutes left.
What?
Anyway, we better jump back into that.
Okay.
Yeah, this just went like boom.
You're not answering my question.
Okay, well, here's the deal.
Okay.
I want to say music was better.
Okay.
But the way it can be distributed now is better.
Okay.
I mean, I guess that's it. I love vinyl, and I want more people to buy vinyl, and I want more people to buy vinyl, not just for the concept I want to sell it at my store. I like to promote the concept of having something that's a part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But do I still use streaming music? Yeah, I use streaming music.
Okay.
But do I still have a Walkman that I can attach to my jacket and plug into my stereo in my car? Yeah, I listen to cassettes still. I love music, and I love all formats of how it's created and how it's distributed. So I would say music was better back then, but how it can get out. Because, I mean, today, George Michael's video on YouTube, hit over 1 million views. George Michael. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I agree. But so I love that fact that the music message is getting out there, and it's crossing boundaries, and it's universal.
Right.
And it used to be discovered, you had to be signed to a major record label, and now you can throw something from your bedroom on YouTube or TikTok
and sometimes
be discovered.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Totally. Listen to me, I'm going into the 80s totally.
Yeah, totally.
So
totally awesome.
Question, Rob.
Yes.
If I come walking into, I don't know, at the moment, own a record player.
Right.
I own a phonograph.
Yeah.
I come walking into your store.
Well, you've already aged yourself. You called it a phonograph, but that's okay.
What can I expect when I walk in the door?
Well, again, what we're trying to do is create the old feel of the old-fashioned record stores, in the sense of what I see as the old-fashioned record stores, 70s, 80s,
Okay.
And what it was is it was a hole in the wall that's not a hole in the wall. So in other words, some old geezer is working there who knows his music and can actually intro you to stuff. Not just you're coming to get the latest hits, which we will carry, and we're going to carry all the new releases and stuff like that.
Okay.
But you get an opportunity to talk to people about music, get turned on to things.
Mm-hmm.
There's always music playing in the store, and a lot of times you get to ask, what's that? What's that? I really dig that, and then get introduced to it.
Okay.
We're also going to do something that I loved in the old record stores, a listening station. They don't do that a lot in modern record stores.
What's
anymore.
a listening station?
That's where we actually have a turntable set up. There's numerous pieces that you can just pick out of the bin and go listen to it before you buy it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we are going to get into some of the old-fashioned techniques, but because I'm partnering with GTV, it's still going to be Grand Traverse Vapor. Half of it's a vapor shop, half of it's going to be a record store.
Isn't that funny?
I like the blend. And I like doing. I've run a lot of stores like that where there's multiple people doing multiple things and bringing their specialities to the floor. But we're also going to do a lot of things. What I liked back in the old days is that the record stores were not just about selling records, but it was about fun. April 22nd is National Record Store Day. Okay. That is a day that's been set up to celebrate independent record stores all over the country. There are actually special releases that are released, and certain stores are allowed to carry them. Certain stores aren't. The only reason is they're trying to give the smaller stores a chance. And for some reason, I'm actually not going to be considered a smaller store, which I find interesting. But that's cool. But I've got some friends running their shops that are going to be the official places you can go pick up those releases. But we're also going to be doing giveaways all day. We're going to be doing contests all day. I also have a friend of mine. His name is Jacob Betts. He's the lead singer of a band called the American Hotel System. He's actually from Cadillac. And he moved down to Grand Rapids. His band is selling out gigs down there. They're an award-winning band. They opened for Bon Jovi last summer.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I'm bringing this boy back to Cadillac. Boy did good.
Yeah, right.
And they're going to do an appearance at our store on April 22nd. But also, because we partnered with GTV, who's also partnered with Roasted, we're actually going to go down to Roasted and do an acoustic set for customers.
really
Yeah.
neat.
So we're bringing some fame to town already. You've touched Bon Jovi. I'm not going to go into further details, but could have been just a brush up. I don't know, but but Jacob's coming. The drummer Haley from the band is coming, and then we hope later in the summer to do a full gig and bring the American hotel system up here, because that's kind of what we want to do. We kind of do what we want to do with the comic book we already used to do. We were an oasis. There's not tons of comic book stores in Northern Michigan.
Right.
Believe it or not, there's not tons of record stores in Northern Michigan either. So we're going to be that oasis. We're going to bring in, bands from other locales. James, who owns Rotten Princess Records in Grayling, which actually, to be honest with you, thanks to him, I actually got this project launched off the ground. He has a band, Dude Man Sir. So we're going to really create that feel of connecting to bands, connecting to music, connecting to the venues of Cadillac, which lately a lot of venues are popping up, which is wonderful.
Yeah. Jason Towers, Primos, as they're doing lots of live music. The truck stops doing live music.
Yep.
It's really nice to see.
So I guess all the elements are coming together. The planets are aligned. I actually said that on one of my Facebook posts, and it's time for a record store. So again, April 22nd, we're doing National Record Store Day. Tons of activities. The American Hotel System's coming into town. We're also going to do giveaways. And one last thing to make all my comic book ER customers, fans, groupies, whatever you want to call them, because I still get a lot of feedback of, wow, we missed the store. Why don't you bring the store back? And da-da-da-da-da. Guess what we're going to do? I still have 15 boxes of comics left, okay? That's over $2,000 worth of comics. I'm going to give them all away for free on April 22nd at GTV. But now get this, taking the next step, it's not just GTV anymore. It's GTV and V. So it's Grand Traverse Vapor and Vinyl.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And we're located right next where the old store was, 720 North Mitchell. And we're going to give all those comics. First thing we open, 9 to 9 on April 22nd, we're going to give all those comic books away for free just to get people excited, maybe cause a traffic jam, stuff like that. And then they'll come in and buy some vinyl. So that's cool, So we're excited about that. We're doing a lot of activity on Facebook right now and really getting a lot of the message out. I appreciate you guys coming down and, I came down to you guys. That's right. Yeah.
So
So
much
used
energy.
to people coming down to my store. Right? What?
So much energy. So much positive energy.
I would like to think so.
Yes. I mean, I would never bet against you, Rap. Never. You know your stuff.
I do know my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just tend to be a little bit off the beaten path of how I do things.
Yay!
I mean, one of the videos that was the most successful of the comic book ER was me mowing the lawn in a Batman outfit. And I was just mowing the lawn, it's like, and it stopped traffic. So I was like, yeah, I like this. This is promo, it's like, so I challenged some of our new customers. I'm like, should I dress as David Bowie? Should I dress as Freddie Mercury?
Oh.
I think we're going with Doja Cat. I might have to work out a little bit, but other than that, I'm thinking it would attract attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it has been said that we could use some more diversity. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, yes, I have a truckload. Some I still have stored in the basement.
But thank you for this. I mean, I cannot wait to come to your store.
Yeah. We are going to officially, is that a good word?
Sure.
Okay. On April 10th, kind of a slow roll open where we're going to actually let people start actively buying. We've got new product coming in. Actually, I have a new shipment coming in today. So we're moving in the right direction, and I'm really hoping for April 22nd, just kind of make a big splash, kind of bring back the old energy that we used to do free comic book day here. Mm-hmm. And, hundreds of people would show up at the store. Again, begrudgingly to a lot of Mitchell traffic, but but it would attract attention. And you're right, it did attract a lot of different people from different walks of life all over Northern Michigan. And I would like to see diversity continue to expand, not just in genres, but just the concept of ideas and thoughts. Mm-hmm. And I've always been connected to music so much because music carries that message.
Absolutely.
That it's a universal language.
It is. And think about it. When we grew up with our mom and dad's music. So
I was a huge fan of Tom Jones.
Okay,
My mom would listen to Tom Jones 45s constantly,
Mm-hmm.
and if I didn't hear What's New Pussycat like every day, my day felt a little weird. Yeah, and I still love Tom Jones to this day.
It's interesting because you will gravitate back to the music that you heard as a child, and my mother was a huge Jerry Lee Lewis country era fan.
So, like,
she owned all of his albums.
Now I have a
You
Jerry
shake my
Lee.
nerves and you rattle. Oh,
I have a Jerry Lee Lewis 45.
whoa.
Handed out the night he got arrested in New Mexico, and
dear.
he even signed it.
Awesome.
And yeah, the thing's worth hundreds of dollars, but I won't get rid of it because it's just a piece of music history. Yeah.
But to my point, I come into your store and I tell you I like Waylon Jennings, or, I like Elvis. What else might I like if I like these artists? And you can take me there.
Right.
Oh, easy,
Right.
easy. I mean, we're actually going to be building all our music bins to not just specific genres, but expandable genres.
Ooh.
Kind of like I was working with one of the staffers yesterday, and we were building a bin. It was rock pop. Well, what does that mean? Well, there's rock in here, but rock could also mean, Motley Crue, but it could also mean Elvis.
Okay.
Pop.
So Billy Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, or pop could also mean Billy Joel or Dionne Warwick. So in other words, we're going to do that. So we're going to have expandable genres. While I definitely think it's important to have genres and it definitely have a living life to how you categorize your music in your store, it just helps customers find their stuff. Our store is going to be relatively small compared to a lot of record stores, but then it's also going to have staff there constantly that can easily walk you through. You're probably going to want to go through this whole bin, not just pull one artist out of it.
Right.
And you'll have opportunities to listen to a lot of it before you even leave the store.
You're going to have to kick people out of your store at 9 o'clock or whatever. When you close, you're going to have to say, folks, that's a wrap.
Last call.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well,
no one's going to want to leave.
Well, and we had some of that at the Comic Book ER too.
Really?
Yeah, we did. Because a lot of times people would come. We even sponsored a group at the Comic Book ER for many years called Comic Chat. And it was just people coming around to talk about their favorite artists and their favorite books. And yeah, it was like a book club for weirdos.
So, Rob,
Yeah.
we talked to Jim Whalen, who's a medical leader in the community.
Yes.
And he told us that one of the keys to resilience is interpersonal relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you're bringing that to us in a retail format. And thank you.
I appreciate you putting it that way. I don't like to take it that seriously, but now and then I like to feel important. So,
Well, good.
so
Well, it is.
that's cool. Yeah.
People need to have a place to gather socially,
Yes.
and not in a chat room.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like I said, you could literally spend. I mean, already Jordan, the manager, him and I last Saturday had what we call music snob talk. So we were late. And what was funny is he sent me a text on a Saturday morning, and I was busy trying to work on orders, but I'm sitting there going, "All right, let's do this," and we just started arguing about the concept of American ska versus British ska, and he knows I am a snob. If it's not British ska, I don't listen to it. Now, I'll say there are some American bands out there who do ska. Give it some justice.
Okay, I don't know what we're talking about right now. What are we talking about? What is it?
Ska?
Yeah.
Ska is a music genre that was created in Britain, I'd say almost about 50 years ago. And it represented bands like Madness, Funboy 3, and there were a number of bands. They borrowed from reggae.
Oh, okay.
And they borrowed from some pop, and they borrowed from punk. And it came together and it became ska. It's very fast-paced beat music. It uses a lot of brass instruments, but also a lot of percussion. You should check it out. Okay. Google it. Google it.
So Madness is, you'd know them best from the song "Our House."
Our
middle of
House.
street.
In the middle of
House.
Yeah, exactly.
In the middle of that. Okay.
That was the big American
Okay,
hit.
thank you for that. Now I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait to come to your store.
Yeah, but that's the kind of stuff we'll do in the store. And actually, GTV is so excited about this project. They're interested when the Cadillac store becomes stable and we're ready to move on. They want me to take it on the road, and we're going to actually probably end up in all the stores. So literally, in a weird way, I didn't intend it, but we're probably going to create a record store chain for Northern Michigan.
Awesome.
And while there are some awesome record stores in Northern Michigan, they're just not that many. Mm-hmm. So honestly, I think really this gives it a chance to kind of get a foothold.
You're filling a niche.
Yeah, niche. Yeah. Nibble in the niche.
Nibble in the niche.
Yes.
So, Rob, before we finish up here, give us those two important April dates again and where you're located.
So April 10th, 720 North Mitchell at GTV, soon now after that, known henceforth as Grand Traverse Vapor and Vinyl, GTV and V. We will be officially open. We will have new releases. We'll be ready. We're not going to be picture perfect yet, so don't judge us harshly. But April 22nd, that's when we've got our shiny penny all shiny, because that will be our grand opening, and we'll be ready for National Record Store Day. And again, we'll have American Hotel System coming into town to do an acoustic set at Roasted. We've also got them coming into the store to do some appearances, maybe some cool selfies,
Yes.
but they're also going to bring up some of their own music, and because we're hoping to become the official American Hotel System store of Cadillac, because again, the lead singer's from Cadillac, which is kind of cool. So April 10th, please remember it. April 22nd, please remember it. 720 North Mitchell. Come on, you all know where it is.
Rob, this has been an entertaining 35 minutes, and I knew it would be.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to seeing all sorts of people in the store.
All the success to you, my friend.
Thank you.
That's right.
Cadillac Unscripted is sponsored by Independent Bank. Join us next week, same time, same station, for more local chat here on 107.9 CDY.